Today I don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna ride on my bike. Don't feel like picking up the phone, so leave a message at the tone. 'Cause today I'm just riding on my 225. So thanks guys. I have a video now with 10,000 views. I never even dreamed I would have a video with 10,000. It's really, I guess, funny how YouTube works. I got that video with 10,000, like 100 or something like that, and then I've got a video with like 18. So it's just funny. I guess, you know, people's interests always, you know, or they're looking for stuff for a certain purpose. Which brings me to my topic today. I want to talk about my personal top 5 best beginner dual sport motorcycles. Now, before I just dive right into the list, some of my personal criteria when I was looking for a bike included price. It included, I wanted something very affordable. It included low seat height. It included lower weight and a small engine, 250 cc's or less. I think that for me personally, that was just the way. I'd never ridden a motorcycle before, and I'm still definitely not the best rider, but I am learning. Number 5 for me was the DR200. I actually almost purchased the DR200. I was very close to purchasing it. It was a good price. It was in fair shape, and I told the guy, I said, well, you know, there's one more bike I want to look at. And it was actually about 3 miles from this person's house, coincidentally, and I came across this XT225, and I fell in love with the XT225. So I bought it right there on the spot. The reason why I chose it over the DR200 at the time was really and truly was just the condition of the bike. I thought the XT was well taken care of, whereas the DR, you know, and I'm not saying it was abused, but it was a little worse for the wear. So as a new rider, that was important to me also. But I think the DR200 would be an excellent starting bike. You know, it's a 200cc or 198cc or whatever engine. It's air-cooled, 5-speed, and it has a few knocks on it. I don't think the brakes are as good as some of the other bikes on my list. Obviously, it's one of the lower cc engines, so at higher speeds, it's going to be much more buzzy and have a tougher time keeping up with some of the other bikes. But it met most of my criteria. Looks are okay on it, so it checked in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is the Yamaha TW200. That bike, for whatever reason, I think the reason why I like it more than the DR200 are those big, fat, wide tires with the knobs. You know, it just has a unique look to it, and it does have the lowest seat height of the group. So for me, it was number 4. I could not find one of those in my area to look at the time. After I bought this bike, you know, after I bought this bike, there were like 2 or 3 in the area for sale 1 month after I bought this one. But that's fine. I have not looked back. I love the XT. The TW is a nice little bike too, starter bike, carbureted, air-cooled, 5-speed, similar engine size to the DR200. It does have a lower seat height, and it has those fat, wide tires, which I really personally liked. I like the looks, and I also thought it would give a new rider more confidence, having a little bit more tread on the ground. Coming in at number 3 is the XT225, what I'm driving here, or now the XT250. Yamaha updated the bikes a few years ago, and they went from the XT225 to the XT250. The 250 has a couple of things that's different. First off, I think it has disc brakes on front and back, whereas all the other bikes listed before had a disc on front and drum on back. And my XT225 has a disc on front and drum on back. And the disc, definitely, there's a difference. My front brake is way better than my back brake. There's a difference. Now, I'm not pushing the brakes to limits. I'm not fast and furious riding. I'm not kicking up roost everywhere. For several reasons. One of them is, I want an XT. It's not a fast and furious roost kind of bike. It's a nice, mild-mannered mule. It'll go wherever you want to. But it's not, it's not for those guys that are wanting to sling roost everywhere and that kind of thing. But it's a great starter bike. I've had mine for about a year and a half and no problems with it whatsoever. Been an awesome starter bike. And I was telling my wife the other day, I was like, I want a bigger bike like a DR or a KLR or something. I'm ready for a bigger bike, to be honest, I feel like. But I'm going to have a hard time getting rid of the XT. It's my first bike ever, and I think a lot of riders kind of develop this attachment to their bike. The XT250, though, in comparison to this, I think it's only a 5-speed transmission. My XT225 is a 6-gear bike. Now, what that does with top end and stuff like that, I'm not really sure. I've never ridden the newer 250, but my bike is comfortable. I'd say 55 and below. It can go more. It can go 62, 65. Probably 65 is close to topping it out, with pretty much no more power left to give. And I'm a big dude. I'm about 290, so I'm pushing, I'm sure, on the weight scale too. But it does enough. It's not going to keep up. You're not going to be able to get on the freeway with it, in my opinion. Some people, I've seen them on YouTube get on freeways with their XTs or major highways. They just struggle keeping up. And to me, the wind blows it around a lot anyway because it's so light. Anything above, I would say, 45, 50 on windy days could definitely blow it around. By the way, I apologize for my driving. I'm just kind of enjoying this country ride with no cars around me. So the XT is a great bike. It is one of the more expensive ones in this group. I think it actually lists higher than all of them. I think it's around $51.99 or something like that, brand new, which is why it's number 3 on the list. I found a great used XT225. Picked it up, have not regretted it. Been a great bike. Coming in at number 2 is the Kawasaki KLX 250S. And the Kawasaki is still carbureted, which is why it's number 2 on my list. It is slightly cheaper than the XT250. The XT250 is fuel injected. To some people, that makes a difference. Really and truly, for me, it's not a very big, drastic difference. Where I live, I don't live on high elevations or anything. It does, in the bitter cold of winter, take my bike probably a little bit longer to warm up. I know fuel injected, you can just kind of take off and go. But not a huge difference for me personally, living in central Alabama. Some people live in colder environments, or maybe they have elevation, and that might make more of a difference. So the new XT250 is fuel injected, where the Kawasaki KLX 250S, I think, is still carbureted. But the Kawasaki is a great bike. For me, it comes in at number 2, because a little over the XT, because has slightly more horsepower. I think it's around 20 horsepower, whereas the XT250, I think, is like 17 and a half. I would put the Kawasaki just slightly above the XT for price and for a little bit more power. It's a good bike. It's been around forever, just like the XT has. Coming in at number 1 for me is the Honda CRF 250L. It's fuel injected, it's water cooled, and to me, in my personal opinion, I think it's the best looking bike of the bunch. I think it's just a slick looking bike, and it does weigh a little bit more than the XT. My XT225 weighs 240. I think 238, 240 pounds, whatever. I think the XT250 is around 270 pounds or so, and the CRF 250L is over 300. It's like 320 pounds, which the way I ride might actually be a benefit, because for me, I'm a big dude. I'm 290, and that might actually help my bike not feel quite as squirrely on the big highways. So that's my top 5. I know some people are gonna, argue or tell me different bikes I didn't think of. And the biggest one, probably most people would say, what about the WR250R from Yamaha? I left that bike off for 2 reasons. But let me get this out of the way. If you're just comparing straight up specs, engine, shocks, or suspension, and you're just comparing the bikes based on those two things alone, the WR250R is by far the best bike of those. The problem is with them, number one, is that the seat height is the tallest of all of them. I've sat in one, and at 6'2", it's still a tall bike, and I'm 6'2". It's just a pretty tall bike, and the biggest reason is price. They're around $6,000 to $7,000-ish brand new. I think around $7,000 is a lot of money when you're talking about the other ones being around $5,000, and some of them even dipping to $4,000, like the DR200 and the TW200. So you're talking $2,000 to $3,000 difference in brand new bikes. Now, to some people, that $2,000 to $3,000 is worth it. And maybe if you're going to keep the WR250R for as an forever bike, it may very well be worth it. But for my little XT, I could buy used now. I could buy used probably 3, 4. I could buy 4 or 5 used XT 225s or used DR200s, probably 4 of them at least, for one WR250R. So I could literally buy 4 bikes, 1 for me and 3 for my buddies, and we could all go ride together for the same price. Now, you can't do that with the brand new one if you're comparing a brand new XT250, but you're still talking $2,000 to $3,000 more if you're comparing brand new to brand new. So that's why I left the WR250R off, was price alone. And there's probably some other bikes out there I didn't think of. I'm sure KTM has one or something. And a lot of people will tell me bikes like, what about the XR200R or whatever? For me, Dual Sport, I know you can tag other bikes, but for me, I was talking about street legal right out of the box. In my state, it's more difficult to tag a bike that was not originally street legal. Now, there's loopholes and stuff like that, but for a completely new rider like myself, most people don't want to deal with that. They don't want to have to try to get a plated bike and go through the hassle at the DMV and stuff like that, at least in my opinion. So I didn't leave, I left bikes off that didn't come street legal out of the box also in my search. Of course, everybody's different. Anyway, please leave comments below. If you like this, hit that subscribe button, please. And remember, ride whatever, whenever, wherever. DualSportFanMan out. Peace.